Let me just give you an indication now. We're strong on the retail sector, we're strong on the telecom sector, where we are a mining jurisdictions which have developed the competencies in those areas. So what we need is to look at the South African, where we've got the biggest financial sector and a stable financial sector on the continent. So what we need to be talking about, how do we strengthen those competencies in which South Africa can excel?
The mining is another important issue contributing to the economy. In terms of commodities, how are we doing? I mean, I'm looking at the challenge, the international factors, the Middle East, the war in Ukraine where oil has become expensive, but on the other hand, you have gold and platinum prices being a safe haven. How do we leverage on that?
Here's a challenge, the headwinds. If you look at the same report of the IMF, in particular chapter 4 of the World Economic Outlook, what it does, it says, what are the, for instance, let's look at the spillover effects of China. If you look at the spillover effects of China, it's such that commodity exporting countries should the kind of poor performance the Chinese economy is likely to, should that materialize, it becomes a risk for all of us. That's one sort of problem for us. The second sort of problem has been a domestic one in the performance of the logistics sector. So all of those things have got implications on how our commodity sector is likely to perform. Surely the strategy for South Africa cannot belong to one man. The question is, how do we as South Africans converge on a strategy to change the trajectory towards a growth one. We will contribute it in one small way via the fiscal side of things. How do we make sure that the fiscal side in terms of spending and takes us in that direction? The budget we tabled has got a special focus on stimulating growth via the infrastructure spending. So that's one part, but we need a whole range of other sectors of the economy to respond.
How do we pay the loans?
Let me make this point. There's no country in the world. In fact, the same report of the IMF says, although the USA economy is performing well, fiscally is probably not going to be sustainable, right? It's high levels of debt and so on. So South Africa is no exception in this regard. Every country has got to deal with debt issues. The problem, I've always emphasized this point, is not the size of the debt, is the capacity of the economy to service that debt. What does that mean? It means the economy has got to grow. If the economy is not growing, then debt becomes a problem. But if the economy is growing, debt is not a problem.
And finally, the issue of electricity, we've seen some pause and reprieve.
Yeah.
Will this assist? Because you have been complaining that if you don't resolve this, our problems are not going to be resolved.
I can tell you now, if we can maintain the level of performance of the electricity sector now in a sustained way, we are likely to see the impact on growth. That's for sure.
In relation to continuity, are you going back to Parliament?
I'm on the ANC list as we speak. If the ANC and I sit in a comfortable position because we believe we're going to get more than 51%, so I'm going to go back to Parliament.
51%, not a coalition?
No. I'm saying we're going to go get more than 50%. That's where we're working, and I think the numbers suggest in that direction.